Okay, let's have a hard talk about where we are, but more specifically what we have to do right now, because we do have to do something. We are in one of those tipping point, really important times in history. In the lifetime of our country, this moment right now is a very important tipping point. And I say that because we have to march forward right now, with clarity and purpose in destroying the communist menace in this country, taking apart their violent terror networks, going after the people who fund their violent terror networks. We also have to arrest and imprison the deep state people who use their positions inside the CIA, FBI to destroy this country. This has to be done now. Now, not 10 years from now, not when it's nicer, not when it's more convenient. This has to be done now, because what's happening is the communist revolution is getting more overt, more public, more radicalized. We have to kill it now. Now. And to that end, I want to give credit where credit is due, because there are people in our movement, people who are leading our movement, who are saying a lot of very wonderful things, and I'm inspired by what I hear. J.D. Vance, the Vice President of the United States of America, this is speaking with clarity and purpose.
There is no unity with people who scream at children over their parents' politics. There is no unity with someone who lies about what Charlie Kirk said in order to excuse his murder. There is no unity with someone who harasses an innocent family the day after the father of that family lost a dear friend. There is no unity with the people who celebrate Charlie Kirk's assassination. And there is no unity with the people who fund these articles, who pay the salaries of these terrorist sympathizers, who argue that Charlie Kirk, a loving husband and father, deserved a shot to the neck because he spoke words with which they disagree. I'm desperate for our country to be united in condemnation of the actions and the ideas that killed my friend. I want it so badly that I will tell you a difficult truth. We can only have it with people who acknowledge that political violence is unacceptable, and when we work to dismantle the institutions that promote violence and terrorism in our own country.
That is wonderful. And it's not just him. Donald Trump, honestly, has been great. Stephen Miller has been better than great. Stephen Miller.
The last message that Charlie sent me was, I think it was just the day before we lost him, which is that we need to have an organized strategy to go after the left-wing organizations that are promoting violence in this country. And I will write those words onto my heart and I will carry them out. We are going to channel all of the anger that we have over the organized campaign that led to this assassination to uproot and dismantle these terrorist networks. So let me explain a little bit what that means. So,
I've got 30 seconds, so be quick, Stephen.
The organized doxing campaigns, the organized riots, the organized street violence, the organized campaigns of dehumanization, vilification, posting people's addresses, combining that with messaging that's designed to trigger and incite violence, and the actual organized cells that carry out and facilitate the violence, it is a vast domestic terror movement. And with God as my witness, we are going to use every resource we have at the Department of Justice, Homeland Security, and throughout this government to identify, disrupt, dismantle, and destroy these networks and make America safe again for the American people. It will happen, and we will do it in Charlie's name.
Okay. I don't want to just gloss over how critically important that is, what the Vice President said and what Stephen Miller just said, because they understand the challenge. I would be very, very concerned if all the conversation right now was just about the assassin himself, making sure he gets justice, pretending as if it's just a guy. It's not a guy. Years and years and millions of dollars has resulted in a vast communist network in this country, much of it violent, much of it organized on the internet. And now they're doing weapons training, they're assassinating people, and they're going to get bolder and more violent from here. It is a terrorist network that must be taken apart brick by brick, and that the institution, the White House itself, that is a powerful institution, that it acknowledges that it knows that and is speaking about that is hugely important. So I want to make sure I stress that that is wonderful, and you should feel good about that. But And you had to know there was a but coming. J.D. Vance is not going to be leading any investigations. J.D. Vance is not going to be organizing any counterterrorism law enforcement efforts. Neither is Donald Trump. Neither is Stephen Miller. That's not their role. That's not what they're supposed to be doing. It is, however, the role of the top law enforcement officer in the United States of America. It is the role of the Attorney General of the United States of America. Her name is Pam Bondi. Now, I want to clarify something because I said in the very beginning that we are at a critical tipping point. So this is what I mean. This is our opportunity right now to imprison people like John Brennan. If you take over the CIA and use it for Democrat politics, you use it to run operations against Republicans, you have to go to prison for that. We've discussed that many times before. And other communists in the government have to see you go to prison for that. That's one. Two, this terror network is larger than you know. I want to be clear about this. It's not as if it was one guy. It's not as if it was one group. It has metastasized into groups across the country, red states and blue states, often LGBTQ-based groups of online, mentally broken, soulless demons who talk about violence, plot assassinations. They train with their weapons. They train as a group. Do you remember when a group of them attacked a Border Patrol facility? By the grace of God, the only one who died was one of them. But it wasn't a one-guy operation. It was a group of them carrying out a campaign. We talked about it on this show. We have terrorist cells, homegrown terrorist cells of communists in this country. And that last assassination, the assassination of Charlie Kirk, will not be the last one. They're ready. They're moving. The Attorney General of the United States of America must take them apart brick by brick. It will be massive and it will be controversial. Now, I told you before Donald Trump even picked Pam Bondi or tried to pick Matt Gaetz, I came right here on the TV and I told you, by far, by a mile, the most important pick Donald Trump had to make was Attorney General, because I knew there were networks that had to be taken apart. And we needed a super sharp pit bull who was unafraid of public condemnation at all. I'm going to play something for you that you've seen many times before. I'm going to play her on Fox News when she's asked about the Epstein list. Now, keep in mind, when she's asked by the host, she didn't say Epstein list. The host said Epstein list. When she's asked about the Epstein list by the host, the Epstein list doesn't exist. There's no one list. There's a bunch of files and things like that, but there's no one list. It's not something that exists. When she's asked by the host about the list, I want you to listen to her answer. Here she was.
The DOJ may be releasing the list of Jeffrey Epstein's clients. Will that really happen?
It's sitting on my desk right now to review.
It's sitting on my desk? There's no list, and she knew it. She hadn't even looked at it. But why answer the question that way then? She didn't even know it was on her desk. We know that now. Why answer the question that way then? Do you know why? This is actually the most damaging part. Because that's what he wanted to hear. That's what the host on Fox News wanted to hear. That's what the audience watching Fox News wanted to hear. And so instead of giving hard truths, we're still sorting through things. Some of it's classified. We're going to get to the bottom of this. There's no one consolidated list. There are a bunch of files. We're coming. Instead of giving hard truths like that, we got the people-pleasing answer. It's sitting on my desk. It doesn't work. She went on Fox News, I think this was this morning, and said this.
That's horrific. It's free speech, but you shouldn't be employed anywhere if you're going to say that. And employers, you have an obligation to get rid of people. You need to look at people who are saying horrible things, and they shouldn't be working with you. Businesses cannot discriminate. If you want to go in and print posters with Charlie's pictures on them for a vigil, you have to let them do that. We can prosecute you for that. I have Harmeet Dillon right now in our civil rights unit looking at that immediately, that Office Depot had done that. We're looking at that. But Sean, you know.
What? The DOJ is now going to force businesses to print the things they want printed? Office Depot already fired the employee who refused to print that. Office Depot heard about it, found out about it, fired the employee. We need the DOJ throwing John Brennan in Fort Leavenworth for the rest of his life. We need the DOJ. We need Pam Bondi tearing down communist networks brick by brick. We don't need Pam Bondi forcing things from Office Depot. This is the kind of amateur hour, people-pleasing crap we cannot afford at this time. Pam Bondi is not an intern at the local law firm. She's not some nobody in society. Pam Bondi, right or wrong, for better or worse, has arguably the most important position in the United States of America right now, and that includes the presidency. That includes the presidency. What we need from Pam Bondi right now is more than we need from any one individual in the United States of America. And this seems like amateur hour, ridiculous crap. And that pales in comparison to what came out yesterday when she said, we're going to start prosecuting hate speech.
There's free speech and then there's hate speech. And there is no place, especially now, especially after what happened to Charlie, in our society.
Do you see more law enforcement going after these groups who are using hate speech and putting cuffs on people so we show them that some action is better than no action?
We will absolutely target you, go after you, if you are targeting anyone with hate speech, anything. And that's across the aisle.
Hate speech is not a thing. Free speech is hate speech. Now, you can't threaten people with violence, of course, but this is the tactic of the communists. This is how tyrannical communists throughout history have attacked people's freedoms. They've done it to you. They've done it to me. This is the justification the Biden White House used to go to Facebook and Twitter and tell them to cancel your account for questioning COVID measures and things like that. And we don't even need her focused on this ridiculous crap again. I want to stress this. It's not just the John Brennans and James Comeys of the world have to burn, and she's the one who does it. The John Brennans and James Comeys of the world are deeply connected. FBI, CIA, they will have super deep pockets. This woman is going to have to go up against the finest defense attorneys on the planet if she is to be successful. This woman has to head up the task force that tears apart internet cells wherever they are found. And we get this amateur hour crap. Amateur hour is over. It's not 1980. It's 2025. We don't have time for this. I don't know whether she can be replaced with someone decent. I don't know whether or not she can be shaken awake, but I would kindly ask Pam Bondi to get off Fox News, get off the podcast circuit, and start doing what we need you to do, AG. The country needs it now. If you're not ready, get your butt back to Florida. We'll find someone who is. All that may have made you uncomfortable, but I am right. I would thank you for coming to my YouTube channel, but I know how brilliant it is, and I know you love it here. So subscribe and watch. We're going to start really ramping things up and putting some funny stuff, some interesting stuff out there, some collaborations. Either way, my YouTube channel is officially the place to be. So stick around.